Good afternoon, fellow Zimbabweans. Welcome to episode 23 of Now It's Brett and Vet. In the last few weeks, Fidza, I and a few others had major flu, which actually turned out to be bronchitis. 4 days off work, which hasn't happened in many years, but I found myself reading a little bit more than usual. I decided to print myself a copy of the Constitution and read it cover to cover. I ended up doing it twice. The reason I read it twice was because from about, I think it was chapter 5, I think it works out on page 40 or something, I couldn't actually believe what I was reading. Now, don't get me wrong, before I've read bits and pieces of the Constitution here and there, specific topics that I was researching and stuff, but I've never read it word for word, the whole entire thing. I was shocked. Especially shocked, knowing that that Constitution was done and agreed to by the main opposition party in Zimbabwe. In other words, they are 50% responsible for what is contained in that Constitution. In fact, there's even a documentary about it. I think it's on YouTube, and it's called Democrats, or The Democrats. We all know Zimbabwe is controlled by a mafia, or as I like to call them, a junta. But after reading that Constitution, I can safely say that Zimbabwe is actually run by one person, the mafia boss, as it were. In our Constitution, the President has the following powers. And please bear with me, this list is rather long. 1. He appoints all ministers. 2. He appoints all deputy ministers. 3. He chooses 5 people outside Parliament as technocrats. 4. He appoints all ambassadors and consular diplomatic reps. 5. He appoints the Attorney General. 6. He appoints the Chief Justice, the Deputy Chief Justice, Judge President of the High Court, and all other judges. 7. He appoints up to 5 people onto the 7-member Civil Service Commission. 8. He appoints all permanent secretaries. 9. All generals and commanders of the Defence Force are appointed by the President. 10. He appoints up to 6 members of a 7-member Defence Force Service Commission. 11. He appoints Commissioner General of the Police. 12. He appoints up to 6 members of the 7-member Police Service Commission. 13. He appoints Director General of Intelligence. 14. He appoints the Commissioner General of the Prisons. 15. Appoints up to 6 members of the 7-member Prison and Correctional Services Commission. 16. He has the final say in all appointments to the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, the Zimbabwe Gender Commission, the Zimbabwe Media Commission, and the National Peace and Reconciliation Commission. 17. He appoints up to 8 members of the 9-member Zimbabwe, and this is a joke, Anti-Corruption Commission. 18. He appoints the Prosecutor General at the National Prosecuting Authority. 19. He appoints, removes, and suspends all chiefs throughout the country. 20. Appoints up to 7 members of the 9-member Zimbabwe Land Commission. And 21. He appoints the Auditor General. Those are the ones that I picked up. I have possibly missed a few. On top of those who he appoints to these positions, the President also has the following powers. 1. He can declare a state of emergency at any time for a period of 14 days. 2. He can deploy the defense forces to anywhere he would like in the world. 3. He can call elections and referendums at any time. 4. He is the sole conferrer of all honors and awards in the country. 5. He can sign treaties and agreements with any foreign states and governments. 6. He can pardon anyone in jail or lessen their sentence. So as we can see, one person has all the power. Why is that? More importantly, why did our main opposition agree to this constitution? Could it be perhaps that the opposition was sensing a win in the upcoming elections and that they agreed to offer the president such powers, thinking that the president would be coming from their party? Or are they just so stupid that they couldn't see these faults that Fidza and I, a mere plumber, have picked up on? Or worse still, did someone pay someone to just ignore these obvious flaws and approve the constitution anyway? This constitution was set up to benefit those in power only, and more importantly, the president of the party who is in power. We the people cannot accept this constitution, as it gives far too much power to one person. In fact, and this goes down to our problem as opposition, we can see clearly now why the much needed coalition is not being achieved. Because the post of president of that coalition, basically by default, gets to appoint 80% of government departments and employees. So whoever gets to be president of the coalition gets all that power. And therefore the other parties of the coalition are not willing to give one person that power. We encourage everyone who can print out copies of the Constitution to do so. Read it from cover to cover. If you're in a position to print extra copies, please do so. Give it to other citizens, your neighbors, your work colleagues. Empower yourselves and verify what I have said above. Talk about this in your political parties. Ask your political leaders, why is this topic of presidential powers almost never discussed? And if it is discussed, who approved to give the president so much power? Ask them to make it a priority and agree in your political parties that one of your election manifesto points is to lessen the power of the president. And that brings an end to another episode of Brett and Vet. If you like what I'm saying and you agree to what I'm saying, please feel free to have a look at our other videos, Facebook and YouTube, all entitled Brett and Vet. Thank you.